I got 4 guests lined up. Amber's about to come do a show for us.
Amber Craven,
Mm-hmm.
Ray Dunn.
Yeah. I'm going to teach her how to get everything set up, get her all hooked up. She's going to do it from up there.
Have you ever listen to Tyler Childers?
Yes. I'll just do a couple of things he's done.
I just can't get over that Appalachian cry that he's got in his voice, you know?
I don't think I really paid attention to it, to be honest with you. And welcome everybody once again to the Undefined Blitz right here on undefinedradio.com. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in as we are continually moving through the NFL playoffs. Got my Micah Parsons jersey on because I am a huge Micah Parsons fan. Now
he had a pretty good sack yesterday.
He did have a pretty good sack yesterday. Micah Parsons was great. I love Micah. I can't say that about the rest of the team, but I do love me some Micah Parsons. But I'm just talking about the people that I love to watch.
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah, I love Micah Parsons. So, and we'll get to that game, but before we do, we got other games to talk about. Let's talk about the. All right, so the first one that comes to mind. Let's talk about Cincinnati and Buffalo.
All right.
All right, I want to talk about that game specifically because we had high hopes for this football game.
Yes,
like this was going to be a battle, and then the snow started. It's like, here we go. This is football.
I think the only thing that would have been better is if the Bengals had worn their white helmets.
Yeah.
To go with their white unis in the snow.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, they would have been iced all the way out.
But then I don't know how. I mean, Josh Allen's having hard enough time finding people to throw to anyway with color against the white backdrop. I don't know if that would help his cause out any.
I don't think so, man.
I mean, because Cincinnati just went in there with a whole different game plan and put a thumping on Buffalo.
But last week when Marvin was on here, we were talking about Buffalo's absolute lack of a running game,
Yes.
and it really kind of came to a point yesterday where it reared its head and it actually caused Buffalo the game. Josh Allen led that team in rushing. He had 8 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Sad. Like none of your running backs had more than 26 yards.
Pretty bad.
That's not a good formula to win football games. Josh Allen threw the ball 42 times.
Yeah, what was his stat line?
So he was 25 of 42 for 265 and an interception, which, I mean, that came late in the game. That was at the very end. So he wasn't turning the ball over, but he wasn't getting in the end zone either.
Yeah, exactly. It was so I was so surprised by that game. I think that was the one I was surprised about the most. I mean, Eagles blew out the Giants. We'll talk about that, but this game surprised me.
Yeah, well, and look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been maligned all year for their rushing offense, even though they have Joe Mixon, who's one of the better backs in the league. They were missing 3 out of 5 of their starting offensive linemen, who they will be without again this week as well at Kansas City. None of those 3 are coming back.
That's not good.
So they only have 2 of their starting 5 out there on the O-line. But Joe Mixon had 20 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. I'm trying to think of the Pirine guy's first name, LaMichael Pirine.
Mm-hmm.
He had another 50 yards on the ground. Like for the 29th ranked rushing offense, they just came out there and chewed through Buffalo, which opened up things for Joe Burrow, who was 23 of 36, 242, 2 touchdowns. 61 of those yards went on 5 receptions to Jamar Chase, who also caught a touchdown himself. So Cincinnati did absolutely everything they had to do, but they had a little extra motivation.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Because it was announced earlier this week that ticket sales for the AFC title game in Atlanta were active. So those tickets are only available to Chiefs and Bills fans.
That's it.
And so Bills, and they had already sold like 50-something thousand, I think, by Friday morning.
The refunds that are having to come from this is great.
Joe Burrow, in a post-game interview on the field, with the sideline reporter, she was asking, what his thoughts were on the win and stuff, and he says, "Well, it looks like all those Bills fans better get those refunds."
Yeah,
I love Joe Burrow so much.
That's right. Joe Burrow's great.
I like Joe Burrow the person. I don't like Joe Burrow LSU Tiger.
Yeah,
but Joe Burrow the person, the competitor, the football player,
he's fun.
He's so much fun.
He is. He's one of my favorite players. And the kid is competitive, as they showed.
And confident.
Lou's got poise. You see before the game, he's warming up. Just the confidence this kid has is stupid.
Well, that one video is viral now. The one where he launches the ball to, I guess it's Jamar Chase going down the sideline and he just turns. It's a cool video.
Yeah,
super
it is.
Cool.
It is.
Easy to understand why that one went viral, but
it's pretty sharp.
Hats off to Cincinnati, man. They're about to show down with Kansas City in Kansas City for the 2nd year in a row.
I don't think this is the matchup Kansas City won. And they had their hands full of Jacksonville.
They did.
That was Saturday. That game was just they had everything they wanted from Jacksonville.
Yeah, and but what I think is the most impressive thing about the Chiefs in this game is that after Patrick Mahomes got injured, Orlando Brown, the left tackle for the Chiefs, was talking about this, that after Patrick Mahomes got injured, basically the entire offensive line looked at each other and were like, "Hey, we got to sell out."
Yeah.
Like no one can get back there, because if anyone gets back there, our season's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to keep Pat clean, and they did. You could visibly see the extra effort that they were putting out on the field, and the Jacksonville defense just couldn't generate a pass rush after that.
Yeah, we were at Central Barbecue watching that game after our TV taping Saturday, and it was a pretty cool experience. And look, I thought Jacksonville had a great showing. Boy, they were competitive. It certainly wasn't like the week before where the Chargers jumped all over them. I mean, they were in that game from the start.
Right.
Had a lot of opportunity to actually take the lead in this game and do some good things in here. just didn't quite have the firepower that Kansas City has.
Well, the thing too is that the number one target for the Chiefs is Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah,
your whole game plan has to be stopping Travis Kelce. If someone's going to beat you, fine. If someone else is going to beat you, fine.
You're good with that.
You live with it, but you can't let Kelce do it.
No.
And all Travis Kelce did was get 14 receptions for 98 yards, and he got both of Patrick Mahomes' touchdown passes.
That's right.
So
that's right. That's one of the dudes you can't just let run free. You have to blanket this guy, and they didn't. We mentioned Eagles and the Giants.
But hey, before we move on to that, though, I just want to say, hats off to Jacksonville on the season they had.
Oh yeah,
getting the wild card win, especially in the fashion that they
had. They had to have the winning in to go.
Right. Yeah. They basically played 3 playoff games in a way.
Yeah.
Because they had to beat Tennessee to get to the postseason. And then they had to come back against the Chargers, and then they had this game against the Chiefs. Like, it was tough sledding for them, but you can see the difference or you can actually see what a difference a competent and effective coach makes.
Well, the back half of their season took off.
Yeah,
for Jacksonville.
And you saw Trevor Lawrence turn it on. Like, you saw that moment where it was clicking for him.
Yeah.
And he carried that all the way through this game. So Trevor Lawrence he's taking that next step. Jacksonville believes wholeheartedly in Travis Etienne, so they're letting him do his thing. The addition of Zay Jones and Evan Ingram has been so huge.
And I'm happy for Evan Ingram, right? Because I think he's needed this.
Yeah, he just got lost in New York.
He did. He really did.
And Evan Ingram has kind of owned up to that too. Like, he's like, part of that's on me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But also, they never really entrusted me to play my game. But Jacksonville's doing that. I think if they can get a couple more key additions on defense and offense, we're looking at a team that's going to be competing, not just in the AFC South, but in the AFC as a conference for at least, the next 4 or 5 years.
I hope so, because I love Trevor Lawrence. I love his competitiveness. He's a good human being also. So there's a lot. There's not much to not like about Trevor Lawrence, and there's a huge upside this kid has. And I think now you're going to see that, look, the Cons over there going, okay, we actually have us a coach now who can do something with these pieces we're getting. I think the saying what we get going forward and who we decide to draft and the players coming in here, I trust you, Coach. Let's get this thing done.
Yeah,
I think you'll see a nice jump from Jacksonville next year.
And I think Doug Peters, for me, it's kind of gratifying to see someone like Doug Peterson who he showed you that he's a great coach in Philly.
That's right.
He gets run out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes right back into Jacksonville and not only wins the division, but gets a win in the playoff with a team that was 2-11 under Urban Meyer last year.
That's right. Exactly.
So I love where this team's going. Will they take that next step this offseason? That remains to be seen. But if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, you have a lot to be excited about right now.
Yes, you do. You have a ton to be excited about. You have the Eagles just destroying the New York Football Giants. They didn't look like they knew what football was this weekend. That was 38-7. Jalen Hurts throws 3 first-half touchdowns in this game.
Got Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith in the first quarter. Boston Scott had a 3-yard touchdown run. Jalen Hurts had a 5-yard touchdown run. Kenneth Gainwell had a 35-yard touchdown run. So, I mean, they absolutely balled out, did the Philadelphia Eagles. And the ball got spread around a lot. But, man, Daniel Jones, it's so weird because he's had the best season of his career this year.
Yep.
For sure. And he probably won't be the quarterback in New York next season.
That's probably true.
Like, they finally saw what they were expecting out of him when they drafted him.
Yep.
And he probably still won't be there next season.
There's a headline saying that they want him back, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are both free agents this year.
Yes.
So we'll see how those kind of negotiations go about and see ultimately what it ends up shaking loose in that Giants organization, because they have a lot of very important decisions to make in the coming weeks.
Yeah, they do. That whole organization now.
But Philly out here showing why they're the number 1 seed.
Yeah. Oh, no
You know,
doubt.
just went out there, absolutely handled their business at home. I think they had like 250 rushing yards or something like that as a team in this game.
Yeah, they just ran all up and down the field on New York.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely put it on them. And hey, I love that Kenneth Gainwell had the game that he did. Another Memphis Tiger running back. They're all over the NFL now.
Yeah.
You got Tony Pollard, Dallas, Kenneth Gainwell with the Eagles, Daryl Henderson. I think the Rams cut him. I'm not sure where he's at right now, but if you need a running back, apparently just go shopping at the University of Memphis. You can find one.
They got a few. Well, you're in Memphis. You're running from stuff all the time anyway. You probably got to be good, fast, and elusive up around this city. Then last night we had the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. 49ers win that game 19-12 in a defensive battle that saw your top two of your top defenses in the NFL. 49ers have the top defense against two of your on paper better offenses in the NFL. And good Lord, it was 19-12. And this game had a lot of storylines in it, dude. A lot of storylines in this game.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, the tape, though, we were talking about these teams and their running games and how they got to get going and use them effectively, especially in playoff football. Dallas didn't do that.
Oh, no.
Ezekiel Elliott led the Cowboys in this game, and his big stat line for the Cowboys was 10 carries for 26 yards.
Oh, because we talked about the running deal earlier, right?
Right.
And this showed its ugly head once more here in Dallas. It sucked. It was awful. Jay says, I'm big on Hurts, saw tons of potential in college. How he handled the Bama deal showed major maturity. I like that kid. We're the same. We've talked about Jalen all season and how he left Bama, went to Oklahoma, and kept trying to get better so he could up his stock in the NFL. Came into Philly, and of course, at first, and because he'll never make it, and all he has done is led this team to one game away from the Super Bowl. That's impressive. Absolutely. As much as I hate the Philadelphia Eagles, that crap hole of a city, that crap hole fan base, all the trash they got in Philly, the air, the food, except for Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. Only good thing about Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts. I do love Jalen Hurts.
Well, I love A.J. Brown.
Well, I love A.J. Brown, too. So, two good things in Philly right now. And crap on the Titans for even making that mess happen.
Well,
he's been a difference maker, by the way.
Yeah, and we've seen the entire implosion of the upper management of the Tennessee Titans ever since that A.J. Brown deal.
Absolutely.
Should have paid that man his money.
They should have. They needed to be fired for that stupidity right there.
Yeah.
Look, I get it if you're going to get rid of a really good receiver, a really good player, but not a great one. Not a game changer. You keep those guys. You have to keep and pay, and go. You know what? I'll keep him. Number 3, number 4. We'll get rid of you. We'll ship this other guy over here off, cover some of your salary up. But you got to have guys like that. Those are difference makers within the fundamental structure of your team.
And even if they wanted to keep Traylon or to draft Traylon Burks, they still could have done that.
Yeah, they weren't losing money on the front end of that.
No, you could have paid A.J. Brown and still drafted Traylon Burks. And even if they picked up Robert Woods like they did this offseason, you would have had a three-headed monster, which would give Traylon Burks time to develop from 2 great receivers.
Exactly.
And learn from them. And maybe Tennessee's GM still there.
No, yeah, really. But now we'll never know. But I do know one thing. I thought this Cowboys game fell apart yesterday. And I don't know how you feel about it because we haven't really talked about this yet. And I really thought that game hinged, well, on the block extra point. Even if they hadn't blocked it, he was missing that bad boy.
Yeah, Brett Maher can't catch a break right now.
That sucker was flat on the kick, which everybody's dogging on Brett Maher, but he's had a great season for Dallas. He's one of the most productive kickers in the NFL.
He's just had an incredibly terrible postseason.
It's been bad.
And there's no getting around it. Historically bad.
Exactly. There's no getting around that. But that right there, and then when Dallas having to go back, because that's the only reason they don't kick that 52-yard field goal, I think.
I trust them from 52.
I do too.
I just don't trust them from 32.
Well, that's the thing. But I think that's why they decide, hey, we're going to go for it here. Tony Pollard gets his leg fractured. The whole game changed in that little sequence. All of that changed everything, starting with that blocked extra point. and Dallas just could not recover. Dak was not on it yesterday. He claimed responsibility for it all. And for a lot of things, that is true. He should have had 3 interceptions. He only had 2. Michael Gallup did not help him at all on one of those. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was playing Ring Around the Rosie out in San Francisco. I don't know what he was doing. But it's like, oh, here, there. Where am I hooking up at? Where am I hitching at? I don't know. Oh, too late. That guy's got it. Okay, let me try to chase him down now. This is what we saw yesterday.
But
Trayvon Diggs. Oh, I don't think I want it. It's just ground, you can have it.
But I mean, there's also the incredible play that George Kittle made.
Oh, he made a sweet play.
Which
catch.
He improvised on it. You know, it wasn't a route he was supposed to run.
Yeah.
He just kind of broke off and found some open space. Brock Purdy did not throw a great ball.
Nope.
George Kittle's out there painfully exposed, bobbling the football around, trying to bat it to himself so he can gather it. And you see Trayvon Diggs read it.
Yeah.
And he breaks on it. And if he's there a second earlier,
yeah,
he absolutely dismantles George Kittle in that moment.
Oh, no question.
You know, like it probably would have ended the day for George Kittle.
Yeah. But he wasn't. But I think even with that play and everything, Dallas, with that first sequence there, it affected everything that they did. They had no confidence. Oh, CeeDee Lamb had a great game, but he's the only wide receiver or wide receiver tight end / anything had a great game in Dallas on offense.
Yeah, I mean,
CeeDee Lamb was on fire.
10 catches, 117 yards. He had the one ridiculous catch with the defender draped all over him.
Exactly. And that's where everything else falls away. We've been saying it all season, though.
Yeah.
All right, as much as Dallas, where they get, pun intended, all the starry-eyed things that go on in that organization up front, where they're trying to say Michael Gallup is a 1B. He is not a 1B. Y'all need to get that out of y'all's heads.
No, he's a 2.
He's a
high-end 2.
That's it. But no more than that. And then I don't know if we have a true 3 yet or not. Maybe a bunch of 4s. I'm not even sure at this point because they just every now and then they make good plays, but that's what happens. So you see it all the time. Oh, he had a good game. He's going to be great. He's the next greatest thing and the next biggest thing, and they're not. We see that a lot. But Dallas was off yesterday. And again, some of that San Francisco's defense they were on it.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Boy, they were on it.
Incredible defense. But then you have stupid stuff like Kevontae Turpin catching that punt at the 6-yard line at the end of the game. Let it go.
Yeah, just see what happens. 6 or 1 at that point is not going to matter.
No.
You try to get
worst case scenario, it hits the end zone and you're at the 20.
Exactly. Yeah, they did not help themselves out. He should have brought that punt all the way there. I hate that he didn't. That was another almost. Oof, he takes that back. That steals the momentum right back for Dallas.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of things like that. But either way,
all that said, Dallas was never out of this game.
They were never out of it at all.
I mean, even if you look at the stat line, like it's fairly similar. San Francisco only outgained Dallas by 30 yards.
That's it.
Now Dallas had 2 turnovers to San Francisco's 1.
Yep.
And then, but San Francisco did pick up 6 more first downs than Dallas,
which is major.
And they held the ball almost 6 minutes longer.
Yep. Which Dallas's 3 and out on that series before the last one was terrible. That's where the third interception should have happened. That first pass he threw,
it was like
horrible.
It was like the 3 and out to start the Tampa game.
Yeah.
It was that level of incompetence.
It was pretty filthy. It was very filthy. And then we had oh shoot. I'm trying to think of that sequence when it happened. I'm not sure. Dak is not the answer. Better than Romo. Debatable.
He's better than
that's
Romo.
it. I don't think so. But again, I love Romo.
Well, he's already won.
I love
as
that.
many playoff games as Romo.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And he's 7 years into his career. I mean, he's won what, 2?
Yeah.
Or is he 3?
2. He's won 2.
He's won 2? Yeah.
And Romo played for 13.
That's right.
14. He played 14 years.
Yeah. Still not saying much. I still think he's a better quarterback though. Period. I don't care if he's won one more playoff game. He's still not a better quarterback. He's just not a better quarterback.
Breaking all of Romo's records.
Yeah. Well, it's not hard to do in this day and age.
He's breaking his records and winning more games. Like
that's not hard to do this day and age when you just breathe on the quarterback, get a 15-yard penalty. I mean, quarterbacking is a lot easier in the NFL now.
Well,
Well, I say that
goes both
from the
ways.
perspective of just not getting flagged on everything.
But it was the league
Zeke,
transitioned to a passing league while Romo was getting started.
Zeke, softest running back in the league. He certainly got blown up on that last play last night, but that was Dak leading him out to dry right there.
Zeke is not the softest running back in the league because no one.
Now he's not speedy anymore.
No one at the running back position pass blocks on the level that Zeke does.
Yeah, not for sure. I just think he's also stepping at speed.
He's definitely done that.
His speed has gotten down. That's the only thing that's hurt Zeke. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there and just drill somebody. Zeke will do that in a heartbeat. And you're right, his pass blocking. Oh yeah, his pass blocking is awesome. Let's see what else. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. But the worst part is the part I look forward to every time after Dallas loses is all the haters coming out.
Oh yeah, they're coming.
That's the fun part. Because it's all the people whose teams lose and never even made the playoffs.
Their overlord, Stephen A. Smith, out there gloating.
Yeah, exactly. Another loser who's worth billions, it seems like. But here's the thing I have. So, like, with like Dallas, people already – Cowboy fans. I talked about this with Marvin and them last week on their show. There's two types of Cowboy fans. There's football fans who love the Dallas Cowboys, who try to be as – honest as you can and look at the game from a crook. Then you just got the starry eye fans, right?
Right.
Every time they take a snap, they're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, look, we hiked the ball straight. Super Bowl time. We're going to those guys, the idiot fans.
Yeah.
Well, dude, let me tell you. They ain't the only ones with idiotic fans like that because they were coming out of the woodwork today. And they were everywhere. Steelers fans trying to hate on Cowboys fans. Y'all ain't make the playoffs. You ain't been close to the playoffs. Y'all were snipping last place when y'all woke up at the beginning of preseason. Let's face it. You don't have a quarterback. You don't look like you're going to have a quarterback. There's no telling what's going on in Pittsburgh. And what about Cleveland? That dumpster fire over there. You guys can't say nothing. Tennessee, we've already talked about Tennessee and the crap fest that is over there in Nashville right now. Who else we got? Washington. Nobody. You notice there's no more Washington fans. What about Seattle Seahawks fans? Remember there were Seattle Seahawks fans everywhere?
Yeah, when the Legion of Doom was there.
And now you see no Seahawks fans. Where'd y'all go? Where did all of you guys go? I'm curious. Where you fellas at? Where y'all hiding at?
Well, they only have one superstar player anymore.
That's it.
So
but where? Yeah, see, that's the difference. Dallas Cowboy fans are always showing up. They're gonna get bashed for it a lot of times. But this is why Cowboys are America's team for a reason. It's not because they said, "Hey, we're America's team."
Yeah, just check
it's
the
just
ratings.
It's just that they've been deemed so because they have the best ratings. They are the highest paid franchise in the league in any sport.
I love when people are like, "Why do they keep putting the Dallas Cowboys on TV every week?" Because people
generate cash. Because
people watch it. You put Cowboys on TV, and people are gonna watch.
They are. They just are. And so, it's always fun, though, because I always love it when these people come out and they start doing that. Because it's like, dude, where's your team? And then they've got, like, on their thing, they'll have the Detroit Lions, their little line up there. Like, y'all haven't even been to the playoffs, but, like, what, 3 times in your whole history? It's probably more than that, probably 4. But that's it. Like, you've never won anything.
Well, that's not true. They won an NFL championship back in like 1952.
Oh, that's true. Pre-Super Bowl era?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 70 years ago they won a championship.
Well, there's some Brooklyn somebodies that won something or something like that. It's no longer an NFL team. Oh, I don't even know. Some of them changed their things.
There's a ton of those.
But,
I did a deep dive in the NFL history book.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. A bunch of weird name teams that you just don't even see anymore.
In towns that you would think would never have a team.
Exactly.
And you understand it now.
Yeah.
Like by our modern standards, media markets and all that. Yeah, those towns never would.
Well, it was like that way with baseball back in the day, right? Where you travel and you had baseball teams like everywhere.
Oh,
like almost everybody had a baseball team. The Saskatchewan Spittoons have one somewhere. They were all kinds of weird stuff. But there's a lot of it. And of course, Bob and Josh, these two morons that call
who?
Bob and Josh midget. I don't know why the last name is midget because they ain't midgets. I mean, they're not short people. They're the announcers for Bluff City Wrestling.
Okay.
All right. So I have to deal with these guys all the freaking time. These dudes are bashing on the Cowboys and like, in y'all's team, Tennessee. I mean, you've been paying attention, right? Like y'all never won a championship. Your team was so bad they came to Memphis, and so they had to get out of Memphis. All right, they had to ditch you guys here in Memphis because Memphis is.
Well, they were never supposed to be in Memphis.
No, that's not the point.
It was a placeholder.
The thing was when they got to Memphis, everybody was like, "Ooh, if we do and cheer loud enough, then maybe they'll stay here," which was never going to happen.
They were already building a stadium in Nashville.
They were so ready. They hated to even have to pass through Memphis. And you got guys like that.
And no one in Memphis supported them.
No.
So, like, literally every home game for the Titans that year, or I'm sorry, the Oilers, every home game for the Oilers that season was basically a glorified home game for the opposing team.
Exactly.
Because the fans were typically 50-50 for the away team or greater.
That's right. Exactly.
But, yeah, people get a weird sense of joy from the Cowboys losing, even if their team is unaffiliated with the Cowboys in any way. Like, if it's an Eagles fan getting joy from the Cowboys losing, I get that.
I understand.
Or the Giants fans or Commanders fans.
Because they're in that division.
Yeah,
you understand that.
Even Cardinals fans, I get.
Yeah, because they used to be part of the NFC.
They used to be in the NFC. 49ers fans, I get.
Of course.
Because there was that rivalry throughout the 80s and the early 90s. Mm-hmm. Steelers fans, I don't get as much.
Well, and that has to do with a lot of
that goes back to the
70s. Yeah, that was when the steel curtain and the doomsday defense, those guys were always head to head. I mean, because I understood that because I hated the Steelers for a long time. And that's a mutual hateration right there.
The last time the Cowboys and Steelers played each other in a game that mattered was a Super Bowl almost 30 years ago.
That's right. Thank you, Neil O'Donnell. We appreciate it.
We do. We do appreciate your ineptitude.
No doubt. Thank you.
Thank you, Cordell Stewart, for not playing.
That's right. Like Chicago. When's the last? Didn't Chicago sniff a Super Bowl or something?
Yeah, 2006. Rex Grossman.
That's right.
Lovie Smith as head coach. They lost to Tony Dungy and the Indianapolis Colts.
There you go. That was 16 years ago. 17 years ago now.
They kicked the ball off to Devin Hester for some reason to start the game. He runs it back for a touchdown, and people are like, "Oh my God, the Bears might actually win this." And then Peyton Manning happened.
He said, "Nah, not gonna happen."
And then we got probably the greatest halftime show of all time with Prince playing Purple Rain in the rain.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's the greatest thing came out of that Super Bowl. Well, I love Peyton though. Carolina Panthers. Y'all the Drizzles.
They played in a couple Super Bowls though.
Yep, they played them. You're right.
And they lost both of them.
New Orleans Saints. Y'all did win a Super Bowl when y'all got Drew Brees a booster seat so he could throw over the line. Congratulations. Y'all probably should have kept that one. Atlanta Falcons.
Hey, but
choke artist.
But the Saints did beat Peyton Manning though for their Super Bowl.
They did. San Francisco, of course. I mean, but Seattle.
They've lost a couple Super Bowls in the last decade.
They have. They've been sniffing around up there and have a good chance to go back. And we're about to talk about some of that stuff.
Seattle has won and lost a Super Bowl.
Yep. The Rams actually won last year and then officially imploded this year.
Yeah, that's the worst fall off after a Super Bowl I've ever seen.
Arizona had an opportunity. Didn't Pittsburgh beat them in the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
it was Pittsburgh.
Probably the greatest Super Bowl I've ever watched personally.
It was a lot of fun.
Like I know people talk about the comeback that the Patriots had, but I'm talking about as far as a great game all the way through.
That's right. One didn't have to have a massive comeback to make it interesting.
Yeah, it was just competitive the whole time. That Arizona Pittsburgh Super Bowl was incredible.
Denver, where y'all at, man? Raiders?
Well, Denver is actually having a second interview with Sean Payton this week.
Well, that could be the turning point for Denver.
He's also interviewing with the Cardinals and the Panthers. But if he's getting a second interview with Denver, it might be getting serious. And
I think he sees they've got a lot of tools in Denver. He's a quarterback away.
I think he's got the quarterback. You put Russell Wilson with Sean Payton, something's going to happen there. I mean,
well, I think his scheming is really good too.
Because everyone thought Drew Brees was done when he blew out his shoulder in San Diego, and they already had Phillip Rivers waiting in the wings. And people wrote off Drew Brees and went down there and just became one of the greatest of all time. If you take a guy who's already in that conversation of the best quarterbacks in the league, definitely one of the better quarterbacks in the last 10 years, and you put him with Sean Payton throwing to Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and those guys,
Yeah.
I think Denver will have something on their hands.
I think you're right because they have a lot of pieces in Denver. That's why I think that's the most attractive place for him to go. Well, as of this moment right now, your team still sucks until they turn it around. But not as bad as Cleveland. We talked about them. Baltimore, who knows what is even going on there. I mean, with that.
I think the fact that Cleveland got to 7 wins this season is super impressive.
Especially with what they had
playing Jacoby Brissett for the first 65-70% of the season.
What about the Jets? There are still Jets fans out there.
There are, man, and
hard to believe, but there are. That's how you know you're a diehard football fan. If you're a fan of the Jets, same thing with the Lions. You have to be a diehard fan if you're following those two teams, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to understand that you know what it is every year.
Oh, did you see what Joe Namath said the other day?
No.
He said he would have the Jets unretire his number 12 if Aaron Rodgers comes to New York.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
that'd be kind of cool, though.
That's
pretty ballsy. That's Joe Namath for you.
But Aaron Rodgers throwing to Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty ballsy. All right. So let's talk about these games coming up this weekend.
All right.
Got to do it. Sunday, 2:00. You got the 49ers, the Eagles. The line right now is Philadelphia by 2.5 at home. It's a 13-4 49ers team going to 14-3 Eagles team, not counting any of the playoff games. We're just totally what's going on right there. What you got, buddy? What are you thinking on this game? This is going to be a different kind of matchup for Philadelphia.
Yeah, but I think Philadelphia has the better team, because maybe some of the San Francisco starters are better than Philadelphia's. Problem is that Philadelphia just has depth on depth on depth. They have gone all in this year. They have spent every single cent, of that salary cap,
improving their team.
Yeah, just getting as much people who can contribute as possible. And they're really going to push the 49ers in a lot of hard ways. I know Brock Purdy hasn't lost a game yet in the NFL.
That's where that ends.
I think this is where that ends because he's about to see a whole different style of play out of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's also about to go into an environment at the link that he has never experienced in his life.
Yeah, there's zero question about that. Yeah, the 49ers are about to be in for a rude awakening this week. I'm rooting for the Niners. Had someone ask me, so Cowboys lose, Eagles win, you root for the Eagles? Never. I'm just never going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I'm not rooting for you, though.
I can't. I will not do it. I prefer the lesser evil, and to me, that's the San Francisco 49ers. That's just because my partner is a 49ers fan. That's the only reason I'll do it.
No one's perfect.
For his sake. But I am not rooting for the Eagles. Period. Not happening. So you just get that out of your system right now. I don't care if they beat the 49ers by 80. Still will not cheer on the values and the awesomeness of Philadelphia. I'm just not going to do it. Bengals, Chiefs. This line is Cincinnati by 1 on the road. I think that's only because of the injury to Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
And
which is a high ankle sprain.
It is. And that's a hell of an injury. That is not a 1-week fix.
No, not at all. I mean, especially when you're having to plant and drive and all that. It's going to take away all his mobility, which he's not a fast guy. He's just really mobile.
That's right.
He's got a good change of direction and
that's
good
where
acceleration.
This injury hurts.
But Pat Mahomes has all the arm talent to still make the throws.
He does. He can throw that ball from any angle. We've seen it.
But another thing that you have to weigh in there is that Patrick Mahomes has never beaten Joe Burrow.
This is true.
Ever.
That's true. I want Cincinnati to win so bad.
I think this is the 4th time they've played in a year, a little over a year, last 13 months. And Joe Burrow's won all 3 of those games.
Oh, good grief.
Including that absolute classic playoff game that they had last season.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not afraid. They are not intimidated by Kansas City at all.
And Cincinnati is down their starting center, Ted Karras, guard Alex Kappa, and tackle Jonah Williams. And they're also missing corner Trey Flowers as well. Those 4 are out for this game. The Chiefs, they don't have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's on IR. 10th string tight end Jody Fortson is on IR. Mahomes is questionable, but I'm sure he'll play. And Mecole Hardman has been ruled out for this game as well. And I do think that injury to Pat Mahomes is huge. I just don't know if Cincinnati can generate the pass. If Cincinnati can generate the pass rush, they probably shouldn't lose this game. Because I don't think that the Chiefs' defense is all that great. I mean, they've given up points to everyone. Their thing is that they can just put up more points than they will give up.
But this Cincinnati team, and Mr. Ice Cold back there, Joey Ice, whatever you want to call him, that dude has ice water in his veins.
Joe Burr, Joe Chill, Joe Cool, Joey Ice, Joey
Absolutely.
B.
I know I'm picking Cincinnati because I want them to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm rolling with Cincinnati as well in this one.
I mean, I hope so. Those will be fun games to watch.
So you're saying Cincinnati, San Fran in the Super Bowl. I'm saying Cincinnati.
Rematch. I want the rematch.
I'm saying Cincinnati and Philly in the Super Bowl.
I want that old school rematch.
They played in the Super Bowl twice, didn't they? The 49ers and Bengals. 49ers won both of them.
Boomer, Icky Woods, and the Icky Shuffle. Ready for it. I like to see Cincinnati actually win.
I think Chris Collinsworth played.
Yeah, I absolutely loved. I always used to love Cincinnati. I mean, because Cowboys have always been my team, but I had those few teams I really like to watch. And Cincinnati was one that I was like, man, I would just love to see them do something. And another one of those teams who've been right there, so close. This is why when people really talk about quarterbacks and championships and all these things, yes, I know you are definitely measured on your championship wins and all that good stuff, but Dan Marino's won
0.
He's never won a championship. He's been to one Super Bowl. That's it. And we consider him one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
All right.
For what he's done in the league, how he powered that Dolphin team.
John Elway never won a Super Bowl until his last 2 seasons in the league.
That's it.
And he played for 74 years.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, so it's not easy to do regardless of what your greatness level is.
But that's why I think that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, because not only does he have more Super Bowl wins than anyone else in history, but he also has all the stats.
And he's done it on 2 different teams.
Two different teams, 2 different conferences. He won a Super Bowl past the age of 40.
Yeah.
As a starting quarterback.
I don't think there's any question Tom Brady's the best quarterback.
He won Super Bowls in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. No one else has done that. No one else is going to do that.
And I think every quarterback, that's what every quarterback should strive to be, is like Tom Brady, because he studies. This dude does not just show up and he's just naturally winning.
He let his marriage fall apart for this.
Yeah, he sold his soul for him. I mean, but that's all right. He's got Super Bowl rings.
Well, he had a supermodel.
He did. He did. I'm pretty sure old Tom will bounce right back with another supermodel.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I think he'll be okay.
Well, he's got his supermodel ex-wife and then his actress baby mama. So I think
that's right. He'll
Tom Brady's doing all right.
He will be okay there. Dude, that whole situation just funny and crazy, but it's nutty.
Just the fact that he retired, spent a month with his family, and said, "Screw this.
Yeah,
I'm going back to work.
I'm going back to the grind. I don't like you guys.
I need to go get hit by 300-pound grown men.
That's right.
That's way more enjoyable.
I will feel better about my life that way.
We did have a little college football news. So a Georgia wide receiver, if I can get this article to pull up here, Rodarius Thomas, Georgia wide receiver, was arrested early this morning on a felony charge of false imprisonment and misdemeanor battery and family violence. So Thomas,
your career's over.
Thomas is a junior from whatever that word is, Alabama. He recently transferred to Georgia from Mississippi State. He was released from the Athens Clarke County Jail on Monday after posting bond. There's not any additional details of the incident have not been made available. Thomas faces an immediate suspension after being charged with the felony. So Thomas is a 6'1", 192-pound receiver who is a key addition for the Bulldogs, who lost receiver. What's that guy's name? Mitchell. Kind of balled out in the playoffs. He's left. He's entered the transfer portal. He actually announced that he's leaving, going to Texas.
Yeah. I saw that.
So, but Thomas led Mississippi State last season with 44 receptions for 626 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Georgia also added Missouri's Dominic Lovett, who led the Tigers with 56 catches for 846 and 3 touchdowns this past season. And Deion Sanders, Coach Prime.
Prime time.
The rich get richer as Colorado has landed Cormani McClain as the cornerback has flipped over to Colorado. So in back-to-back years, Deion Sanders has recruited the number 1 cornerback in the country.
Yeah, I don't think name recognition means something in these instances. You are wrong.
Absolutely. McClain's also ESPN's number 4 prospect overall. McClain is from Miami, or was committed to Miami, flipped his commitment to Colorado. He was planning to sign with Miami in the early signing period back in December, but he abruptly decided to wait once Deion got the job at Colorado, and he wanted to see what they had to offer.
Yeah.
So McClain's mother tweeted on the first day of the early signing period that there would be a change of plans, and McClain would wait to sign his national letter of intent. Of course, Coach Sanders continued to pursue the number 1 corner in the class, even getting McClain to do snow angels on a visit to Colorado. So another big get for prime time there.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see what this team does and ends up doing.
And Georgia got some good news, despite their wide receiver being charged with felony. Starting center Cedric Van Pran is returning to the 2-time defending national champions.
Yep.
He was going to go to the NFL, and he decided he's going to come back for one final season in Georgia. So he just completed his 3rd year. He started as center for the past 2 years while serving as co-captain for 5 games. This past season, he's won back-to-back national titles. Guess he's trying to see if he can get that 3-peat done.
Hey, look, we got Stetson Bennett coming back for his 17th season in Georgia.
Stetson
there
Bennett's
you go.
Done. He's got no more eligibility.
His cousin, though, Quentin Bennett, will be there. Just wait. Quentin's coming. Quentin's coming.
They have a striking resemblance.
They do. They're like maybe fraternal twins that nobody talked about, and I think they get reconciled with his family. Quentin will be there next year. Be ready, Georgia fans. Y'all still in luck.
So
y'all have it.
In strange news, Bethune-Cookman, who hired Ed Reed this offseason as their head coach, they have come out. Well, Ed Reed has come out and said that he will not be coaching at Bethune-Cookman as negotiations have failed. Ed Reed gave a 15-minute goodbye to his players and their parents. He said, "We've been around here trying to change things. My vision for change probably moving too fast for a lot of people." He said, "I want you guys to understand, I'm not withdrawing my name," as the school said. They don't want me here. They do not want me here because I tell the truth.
Go Ed Reed.
Ed Reed also tweeted an announcement that detailed, "After weeks of negotiations, I've been informed that the university won't be ratifying my contract and won't make good on the agreement we had in principle, which had provisions and resources best needed to support the student athletes." He said, "I was committed to coaching and cultivating a relationship with the university, players, community, and fans. It's extremely disappointing that this won't be happening." So back on December 27th, Bethune-Cookman announced that the school and Ed Reed had entered an agreement in principle to be its 16th head football coach. Its previous coach, Terry Sims, was fired back in late November after going 2-9 in back-to-back seasons. The decision to not ratify Reed's contract comes after the Pro Football Hall of Famer caused a stir when he went on social media and complained that his office had not been cleaned before he arrived. Reed would later apologize for the profanity-laced post and apologize for it again Saturday. He said, "I'm a good man, but I'm not perfect. We all make mistakes, and I apologize for mine." Bethune-Cookman said in a statement on Saturday that it had decided not to proceed with contract negotiations with Reed. "While we appreciate the initial interest in our football program displayed by Mr. Reed, during the course of recent weeks, we are also mindful of the qualities and attributes that must be exhibited by our institutional personnel during what have been uniquely challenging times for our campus as we recover from the impact of 2 hurricanes during this past fall semester." For those of you who don't know, Bethune-Cookman is an HBCU, a historically black university in Daytona Beach, Florida. They have won 6 MEAC championships since 2000, but they have struggled since they've joined the SWAC conference in 2021. Now, the program was hoping to find the same success that Jackson State did when they hired Deion Sanders, who's, as we just discussed now, head coach at Colorado. Coach Prime called Ed Reed during his goodbye Saturday and offered him help and guidance. Deion told him, "I know you don't want to leave those kids." They were briefly teammates in Baltimore early in Ed Reed's career at the absolute terrible tail end of Deion Sanders. But sometimes in life, you just got to walk away. So Ed Reed's 44. He spent the past 3 seasons in a support staff role at his alma mater, University of Miami, and most recently as a senior football advisor under Coach Mario Cristobal.
There you go.
So good luck to Ed Reed moving forward, but I hate that
we get the spot.
Whole situation went down the way that it did.
All right, we got to give out some awards, buddy.
All right, let's do it.
We got our Drizzler Awards. We're getting close to the end of our regular football season. Drizzler Awards, we're still deciding what we're doing with the XFLs coming up.
Yeah, and then the USFL is right after
2. Right?
Right after the XFL.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they're not stepping on each other.
Me too. It means we get football all year, basically.
Yeah, because we
lead into the draft, we got all kinds of stuff.
Right. So the XFL starting up early February, like right after the day after the Super Bowl, I think, or something like that. I think that goes up to mid-April or something like that, and then the USFL starts in mid-April and goes up through mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
Turn around, July's training camp.
Yeah, it's all right there.
Or at the end of July starts training camp through the early part of August. They'll break training camp, come home, do some more practices, and then we're right back into NFL season.
We will have plenty to talk about. No doubts. We'll have a ton to talk about. All right, let's give out these Drizzler Awards.
All right. So my Drizzler this week goes to Dak Prescott. And it's after last week and how well he played, it hurts me to say that, but he regressed dramatically in the week. I know I've seen some Cowboys fans belly aching that the Cowboys only had 6 days to prepare while the 49ers had 8. At this point in the season, that doesn't matter anymore.
No, you still know how to play the football game.
You know which team to throw the ball to, which team not to throw the ball to.
And the Cowboys already had these teams already had preparations in order for these things happening. So there's tapes already being delivered. There was already, by the time they got there, there was already things in place so they could get right into San Francisco. That's not an excuse. And because my Drizzle goes the same way as with Dak. Because here's the thing, and I see a lot of the hate towards Mike McCarthy. I'm like, as a head coach, you can't throw the football for your players. You can't catch. You can't block. You can't kick the football. You can only put these players in position to win. If you want to get on a coach, it's about decision makings in situational circumstances that the coach actually can and cannot control. He cannot make the players perform as they should on the football field. These are grown ass human beings. They are professional for a reason. They get paid millions of dollars for a reason. You can't put that on the coach. That is on the players. The players didn't step up. Dak didn't step up. These injury bug that because it didn't happen last week and they rolled over a sorry Tampa Bay team. And I don't care what Tampa Bay was not even in Dallas's league. You could see it and it played out like it should have. Other than the Vikings game, the 2 best games that Dak has played. And because he played such a good game last week, of course, those weird Dallas fans that we talked about earlier, not the cool ones,
right?
We're there he goes, he's back, and it's going to be no. We knew this was coming. We were not surprised when the interceptions happened yesterday. I wasn't surprised. It was not a shock to me. I was like, that's what I expected.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
And it's terrible when that's your mindset. When you go, okay, yeah, that's what I expected to happen right now. So because it's not like when it was over, it was weird. I talked to nobody. He's like, is it weird that? And you kind of talked about that too earlier. I was like, is it weird that I'm not really upset about it? Like, they really overachieved what we thought was going to happen at the beginning of the season.
And for you non-Dallas Cowboy fans, that might sound weird because the Cowboys won just as many games in the regular season this year as they did last year.
Yeah,
but
they 12-5.
They won a playoff game this year like they
didn't do last year. Yeah, so that's a step in the right direction.
Why we say that they overachieved this season is because this is a less talented team top to bottom than it was last season.
Yes, it is.
You lost Leo Collins,
Yes.
who's starting in the AFC Championship next
Yep.
week. You lost Amari Cooper.
Yes, and that showed big time in
So
that game yesterday.
there was a lot of top tier talent that you don't have. Zeke is not Zeke anymore. So while this team is not as good, they've managed to do more from a talent perspective.
Yes.
They're not as good, but they still managed to accomplish more than they did last season. That's why I think they overachieved. And it's hard to be upset when someone does more than what you expected them to do.
It really is. So,
and I also thought it was impressive because we talked, I think, first show of this season about how the Eagles had improved tremendously in the offseason. The Giants had improved tremendously in the offseason. Even the Commanders had improved in the offseason. And it felt like Dallas
did not.
Just kind of moved laterally.
That's right. And that's right. I mean, that's exactly what it felt like. So it wasn't, I mean, again, they had a winning season. It was a fun season, really, for the most part, as far as that goes. But you kind of knew. If you watch this show at all, you know exactly what we're talking about because we've said it all season long. This is just not that big. That's why I'm not butthurt over the thing. And I've had more fun with the haters today. And I usually don't go out and talk a lot of trash when it comes, I just don't do it. I don't know why I don't do that with the Cowboys and stuff when I do that, but today was an exception because you knew the haters were coming out. I was like, you know what? That's where my focus is right now, especially when it's the teams that had no business saying nothing in their fan base. That's the best part. That's the best part. That's why you saw them tune in this show today and tune right back out again. We started to get to that point of it. It's just how it is, folks. If you can dish it out, you got to be able to take it. You got to be able to take it. But that's the Drizzles. What about our big kahuna?
Well, my big kahuna this week is the entire Cincinnati Bengals football team, man.
Yes, it is.
Because they just went out there and absolutely smashed the Buffalo Bills, destroyed them. I was going to go with Joe Burrow, but, man, I'm just spread the love
look
around.
at the team and what they've done, their stat lines.
Yeah, the whole team did well. You had a 100-yard rushing back in Joe Mixon. Oh, they have Samaje P. Ryan. LaMichael, I think, plays
Samaje
somewhere in Florida. But Joe Burrow had 31 rushing yards himself. Jamar Chase had 3 rushing yards. Samaje P. Ryan had 33. As a team, they rushed for 172. Joe Burrow, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air.
No picks.
Yeah.
Important.
And then you look at who caught passes yesterday. Jamar Chase, Hayden Hurst, Samaje P. Ryan, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Trenton Irwin, Mitchell Wilcox. I mean, they were spreading the ball around. Huge day for Hayden Hurst, by the way. 5 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown.
And this should brighten you if you're the Chiefs because that shows you one major thing. They will get the ball to anybody and everybody. They do not focus in on one player.
Absolutely. And then even if you look at the defensive side of things, they only got 1 sack, and that was from their safety, Von Bell, who came down on a blitz. But Von Bell had 6 tackles, 5 of them solo, a sack, a tackle for loss. He had another quarterback hit as well in the game. Mike Hilton, former Ole Miss Rebel, he led the team in tackles. He had 8 total tackles, 6 solo, no sacks. He did have a tackle for loss, a pass defense, and 2 quarterback hits.
There you go.
I mean, these guys were just all over the place, making life super uncomfortable for Josh Allen and company. Cam Taylor-Britt got the pick. And Evan McPherson, hey, man, let's not even leave out special teams guys. He was perfect on the day. 2 for 2 on his field goals and 3 of 3 on his extra points. In the snow,
In the snow. So there you go. There you go. Guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in to this edition of the Undefined Blitz. Look, next week, we'll be getting ready to start talking about the Super Bowl because we will know next Monday who it's going to be. So who do you got? Let's talk about that right now. This weekend, going into it, who do you think is going to be in your? Who do you think it's going to be? I know who we picked. So I think we both picked Cincinnati.
Yep.
And
we differed on
the Eagles Niners.
Yeah.
Because I'm not picking Eagles. Yeah. So you think it's going to be Eagles Bengals?
Yes.
I think it's going to be Bengals Niners. At least that's what I'm hoping. So we'll see. We'll see which one of us got that one right and which one not. I can't just logically pick that game because I just refuse to do it. It just kills my soul, folks. It just kills my soul. It's just at some point you got to draw a line in the sand. That's my line. That's my line right there. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. For JC, it's Chad. We will see you guys back here next Monday. Appreciate it, folks.